Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today it comes at us from Chuck. Formed in 1995 from Toulouse, France, these guys are a bit fruity. Leaning on the heavier side of rock metal, they are a mashup of multiple styles. They're also a little on the goofy side. Their lyrics are often a mix of both French and English languages. They're still an active band. 1995 to 2026 is impressive as a run. Kind of intrigued about the mashup of ideas. Let's dive into this. We're going to be looking at the band Psykup with the track Birdy. Let's kick it, see what's going on here.
Like a bird in the burning sun, you know it's time, but it's long begun. Take a shot, don't say my name. Make it last, it will be the same. We know that there's not a record in your room. We love you all, we're just the same. We know that you're not evil, it's our times.
Yeah, very playful. He held that scream a lot longer than I thought he would, given how thin it sounded. Sounded like there was just a lot of air supporting it. Just this drone sitting over here.
We're gone.
Oh, not the 1 beat delay. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Are there two vocalists here? I just ask because there are a lot of dual vocal sections. Whether it's harmony, counterpoint, call and response. Okay, drummer. Dude, this vocalist is Bonkers. The tempo is all over the place. Time signature doesn't change as much, but this song is so random. And a lot of it is the tempo shifts, but atmospheric transitions like this are bonkers too. So it all just compounds. There's so much variety. What are these lyrics? I mean, I haven't picked up a lot of them. Duality. Usually I bring this up in regards to the music, but instead it's going to be in regards to my experience. This is an incredibly frustrating listen as a critic, as someone who sits up here and tries to tell y'all what's going on with this track, what it's trying to say, and how it's using theory to say that. What parts of composition and production and the general performance is helping to evoke this narrative or emotion. Yeah, no, it confounded me at every corner, every turn, and boy, howdy, did it have a number of turns in it. But I also found this quite enjoyable for many reasons that I enjoy earlier System of a Down. As I've mentioned many times in the past, I'm more of a fan of Mesmerize and Hypnotize. I think that those tracks are generally more well rounded and more strongly defined at a core, and I'm just a sucker for vocal harmonies, so those two albums will always sit as my favorite for System of a Down. But this track in particularly reminds me of a lot of the fun, we're not going to care about how any of this works, we're just going to do it and be ourselves kind of vibe that I feel has strong parallels to works from Steal This Album or System of a Down's first was that self-titled? I don't think it was. Anyways, their first album, sort of off the rails, bonkers. The songs can go in any direction, wildly shifting between heavy and soft sounds, different vibes, tempos, time signatures, just really off the wall. Heavier writing. I think much of this track in particular, I would still classify as metal, but there's several passages in here that feel more rock oriented, including that final section of the song, which is just an incredibly low energy, palatable, beautiful vocal harmony part of this track. And it's not in isolation either. There's so many parts of this track that are very similar to that in vibe and energy. So, like I said, I see a lot of parallels between early System of a Down and this, and I do enjoy early System of a Down. I enjoy this too, but on a very casual level. I think the smiles on my face and the stank face and just the grooving throughout most of this showcased my enjoyment of this track. But to reiterate something I said earlier, I can't explain this. We can look at some technical elements. There is certainly high contrast. This is a dynamic song from start to finish. I think within the first 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, we had already heard 3 different vocal styles, 2 different guitar tones, and 2 different tempos. This song has no chill. It doesn't try to ease you into anything. It is channel surfing between ideas. It is a roller coaster with blinders on. You can't see anything other than what's directly ahead of you, and you just got to go with it. And that can be very fun. Musical whirlwind or a tornado. We also have dynamics in, well, let's bring up the time stuff just real quick. The tempo in here refuses to sit still. It is constantly jumping up 20, reducing down 30, increasing by 10, decreasing by 50, going up by 60. It is whiplash left and right. You can't ever prepare for how quickly the song is moving. This is paired infrequently but to great effect with odd time signatures. I did pick up a couple of really quick moments that I think were in 5. I'm not super confident in that. There was one spurt when we were in 7, and in 2 separate occasions in the back half of this track, we were in 15, which was like that 7, except the second had the full 8 that you would expect from a typical 4/4. So it's like 7, but only half of the 7, only half of that reduction. This just compounds with all of the tempo shifting throughout this. Not only do you know if you should be headbanging slower or faster when we have a drum fill or a guitar riff or a scream that indicates we're doing something totally different in the next second, but you also don't know how frequently or when you should even move along with the music. This just adds to the chaotic nature of it. Everything is constantly in flux in such a way that predictive elements don't fit into this at all. This is one of those songs that you just have to memorize. You have to listen to it half a dozen times, whatever, until you get the gist. You understand the flow innately. Because trying to anticipate any of this on a first time listen is a fool's errand. It is impossible. It is part of what makes it so eclectic and fun, but also so frustrating to listen to in a position of trying to understand it in a single go. The dynamic qualities are further explored in the production side of things, not necessarily the engineering side, but the sounds that are produced from these instruments. The drums are pretty straightforward. The bass has a little bit of fluctuation to it. Sometimes it's a bit meatier and grittier than other times, but I'd say that much like the drums, they're just kind of static throughout. This is really the guitar and vocal show throughout this song. The guitars are constantly changing out their sound into things that are a bit more rockier, things that are a bit more metallic, things that are a bit more metalcore, working in some punky influences in there. We can hear this not just on the production side, but also the composition. There are chordal progressions in here that are like, oh yeah, radio rock stuff, cool. And then there's just straight up 90s metal riffs going on throughout this track and other sections. There's rhythmic chugging in here a couple of times, give us some of that punky breakdown energy. The vocals, I've already talked about this enough, I suppose, but I'm just going to bring it up again. That vocalist is freaking talented, dude. Really low harshes. I think everything in here is a fry scream. Y'all can correct me on that, but I don't think I heard any gutturals in here. But low, medium, high, and all of these have different thinness to them, so they have different width going on, but all of them seem to be pitch controlled too. He can sing a melody in any of these harsh styles. That is bonkers as far as I'm concerned, to have such control over their voice. But then they also have a couple of cleans in here too. They have a much nasally, higher pitched one. There's a bit more of a chest voice that they can project a little bit and get a little bit of extra width to it. And I don't know, maybe more of these five, at least they can just switch them on and off rapid fire. And then we got the vocal harmonies with all of this too. Doing counterpoint, doing call and response, doing canon, doing harmonies. Yeah, like you name it, the vocalist, I think it's just one vocalist in here, is just double tracking themselves in so many different ways. And so even beyond just the fact that this song is constantly shifting atmospheres harmonically, shifting tempos and time feels rhythmically, they're also constantly changing what kind of sounds are coming into our ears thanks to the ever-shifting guitar and vocal work going on in this track. It is, to me, a masterclass at keeping a song fresh and interesting, though heavily disjointed. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of some of the more eclectic, I mean, of course, System of a Down still, but some of the more eclectic tracks from a band like the Dillinger Escape Plan. High energy, high movement, lack of anticipation of where things are going. Do I have anything else to add to this? I don't think so. There is a ton of skill on display performance-wise. To memorize 8.5 minutes of fairly linear music with I don't know, 24 parts within that, having to memorize the order of all of that. I think some of those parts are even linear within themselves, so it isn't like, oh, I know this lick, I just have to play it 16 times and we'll move on to the next idea. Some of the guitar riffs are just, you got to know the whole thing. You got 16 bars of music to memorize that you're going to play once. So there's that. The vocals don't ever seem to quit. I feel like they're just always singing something. I didn't hear anything that felt chorusy or anything, again, that would be repeated. So 8 minutes of, well, not quite 8 minutes, but a lot of lyrics to memorize for this. And knowing which voice to do when, and the inflection, the movement, it's bonkers. The drummer, I kind of glossed over the drums and bass a little bit. They both have really intricate parts too. On the production side, they're not as diverse as the rest of the instruments in this group, but they have a lot of wild ideas too. Drum fills, drum patterns, bass licks. The bassist also follows along with the guitar quite frequently too to fill out the low end, so they got to know all these linear ideas also. They're constantly changing their riffage. It is an intense ride, and I wanted to look a little bit extra into this, so I went to the album page for this real quick. It's 90 minutes long. Came out in 2008, and this is not the longest track on this album. This just seems to be a tour de force here, and I'm kind of curious where this sits against maybe some of their earlier work. I believe Chuck said they debuted in 94 or 95. It was mid-90s. So, I mean, this is quite a bit into their discography. How does this compare to where they started? Is it more cohesive? Is it less cohesive? Did they get wilder as they went on with their craft? I don't know. I'd be interested to dive into more Psykup, but if the rest of their stuff's like this, I don't know how interesting it would be as a reaction, because honestly, with stuff like this, it's just kind of tough for me to discern what it's trying to do. I can just admire what has been done. Let's hit some lyrics. This track is about someone, maybe even more than one person, at odds with someone else who I think is more figuratively representing a group of people, maybe even a lot of people within this group. It's a song that seems to be about ideological friction between two viewpoints. It doesn't really make too much of a point to showcase what these views are. There's just division between these two groups. There is one line that simply says, "We won't brandish the flag of your ignorance." And that's about as far as it goes on that manner. Everything else is about the clashing between these two people. It says that your time is over, like a bird in the burning sun. You know it's time, and it's long begun. So it says your time's up, it's our time now. He says, but we know you're not evil. It's just our time, and we love you all. But if you should die, I don't think I'd cry. He says, the future is upon us, you're getting left in the dirt. I know you're not evil, but I would not be upset if you cease to exist. Then we have a recurring theme on here, urine. I don't know why this keeps coming up. It's wild. It actually starts off even wilder than it gets later. It says, piss on me and I will swallow all the golden shower and make me your idol. I don't understand that. But then he says repeatedly, I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. So there's animosity here. I wouldn't even humiliate you if it caused you to survive. You could be burned to death. That's the whole point of that phrase right there. This actually comes up at the end of the track. And it says, maybe you would piss on me if I survived you. Maybe we would piss on you after all. It is a wild ride getting through these lyrics. There is several sections in here that are basically saying that if terrible things happen to you, that's fine. I wouldn't be too upset about it. That's just the way life goes. But we do get some introspective elements here. It says, what's my life worth? Is my life worthwhile? What's my life worth worldwide? There's an individual component here. And I think there's an understanding somehow that the dividing line is, I don't know, imaginary, maybe? I'm trying to parse the middle of this track. He says, I should write a symphony, and you will write our requiem. We'll meet again in the afterlife. He says, payback time. Let's swap our lives. Choose your side or click aside. Let's swap our lives. We won't brandish your flag of ignorance, so let's swap our sides. I don't know. Part of it is maybe we're not so different after all. Let's walk a mile in each other's shoes. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's we'll walk a mile in each other's shoes. I'm going to see I was right after all. You're going to have your mind changed. Maybe, I don't know. But then it says, you're killing me. What do you want from me? Heavy metal? And I'm pretty sure this is where we got some pretty sick guitar work, which kind of blurs the line between the story and the lyrics being a vehicle within a song to understand, hey, there's a solo coming up. Let me reference that. But then we have a repetition of I don't give a fuck over and over, said in slightly different ways. Sometimes it's I, sometimes it's we, maybe it's I have a few words from you. It's juvenile, but it also seems to disregard everything else in here too. Because it's obvious that this person does care greatly about this other person's opinion and how the narrator's is different and the friction there. I mean, the very beginning says, your time's up, dude. It's our time now. We're gonna do what we need to do. And then here he's like, actually, none of this matters to me. Or maybe he's saying none of what you are matters to me, but he's put a lot of words saying that it does matter. And the ending of this kind of blurs all of that too, because this is where the part where he says, maybe I would save you if you were on fire. Because I think maybe you would save me. And what? I don't know. There's a through line here. I can see how everything is vaguely connected, but I'm missing the thesis to this. This is a series of ramblings that I can kind of see where it started and where it ended and how we got there, but I don't think there's a core idea that holds it all together. It's just vaguely associated with one another. I'm just a bit lost on it, which I suppose is a parallel to the music experience too. I can kind of see how all this fits together. It's all vaguely rock and metal. But man, it is a wild ride getting through this, and at the end of the day, I'm not really sure how any of the music actually fits together as a cohesive whole, so the lyrics mimicking that feels on brand. At least those are my thoughts on this. What did you think of Psykup's Birdy? Would you want to listen to more of this? Are you intrigued? Have you heard of them before? And do you think I should continue diving into them? Let me know. Put all of that as well as anything else you'd like to add into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.